the greater good.
Hey everybody, Greater Good Mining here. You might have seen my most recent video where I turned my two KS1s into one KS2. And now I want to make this thing even better by putting a Fruition Designs kit on it. So I want to say thank you to John at Fruition Designs for sending me the KS1 kit to try out and this AC Infinity fan. I really appreciate it. If you want to get a discount, use my code GREATERGOOD for 15% off at Fruition Designs. You can get the same kit that I'm putting on right now. And I'm going to show you how it's easy. It's great. I love these kits. You might have already seen my KS3L video. I turned my KS3L into a KS3M actually, and I have the Fruition Designs kit on it. And it is nice and quiet and efficient now. I love these kits. I love it. So if you're a home miner and you need to have a little bit quieter of an environment, you cannot beat these kits. They're great. So anyway, I got some stickers from my friends. I just wanted to shout out to Veteran Miner. I got a new sticker from him from Cypherpunk, Terra Hosting, and my boy Hawk Crypto Mining. Awesome. Love these stickers, guys. I got an OG Hobbyist Miner sticker from the man himself, Hobbyist Miner. Thanks, man. That was like one of his last few stickers because he's rebranding with his face. Coastal Crypto gave me a sticker, and you see all my friends that already sent me stickers. Love them. Thanks, guys. And anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to show you some of the footage from the video that I just shot where I turned the two KS1s into one KS2. It'll show you how much wattage I was pulling and how loud it was. Okay, I've got all of the rigs off except for the two KS1s, and it's going to be pulling, we're talking about 80 decibels for two KS1s, and these are overclocked KS1s. So we are pulling 1580 watts at 80 decibels for two KS1. On my Franken KS2 here, I had just booted the machine up maybe 5-10 minutes before that, and the ambient temps in my garage were 10 degrees cooler than usual. If you see in my temperature display, it's 85 degrees in the garage. So I expect this wattage to be a little higher during my normal usage, but I didn't have time to wait till the next afternoon for the heat, in the Florida sun to cook my garage again. So just expect that, the fan speeds on the KS2 would be a little higher than this usually. In my garage, I'd probably have them set to like 40-45%, but at this moment it was auto mode, so it's 29%. About 10 or 11 degrees lower ambient temperatures because I had my miners off while I was shooting this video. That's just FYI. So expect a little higher wattage probably out of a normal KS2 if you have it in the garage and it's a little warmer. Okay, so let's go ahead and compare the decibel reading on two KS1s in 95 degree heat versus one KS2 in 85 degree heat with the fans at 29%. It's saying about 71, 72 decibels. Maybe we get down to 70. But that's with lower ambient temperatures and lower fan speeds. I would expect it to be a tiny bit higher in a warmer garage, like my usual environment. So let's go ahead and install this kit. I'll show you how right now, and we'll test before and after how quiet it is and how much wattage we save. Unboxings through the power of editing. Okay, first thing you gotta do is unplug your Iceriver and cry, because right now you're making zero money from this thing. So let's do this fast. We're going to take off the top screws here, and here in order to take this control panel cover off. That's the first step. Okay, you got the screws out. Now we're going to pop the control panel cover off. It might be hard to see, but if I tilt it this way, you can see where the fans plug in. Right here, and here. So there are 4 fans on the Iceriver KS1 and KS2. We're gonna unplug these carefully, one at a time. Get the wires out of the way. Now, you can't just leave them unplugged. The Iceriver Kaspa ASIC will not like that. So, we're going to use the fan spoofers that are provided in the Fruition Designs kit. There's actually 4 of them there in one strip. So we're just going to very carefully snap them out. Just like that. So you'll see each fan that you've unplugged will need these fan spoofers. We need to trick the Iceriver into thinking that everything's okay there. So all you have to do is take each one of these fan spoofers and plug it in to where you unplugged a fan from. So just keep snapping them off and plugging them in. Pretty easy, right? Alright, so now with these fan spoofers installed, we will trick the ASIC into thinking that everything's okay, that these fans aren't running. These loud, obnoxious fans. Power hungry, loud, obnoxious. Going bye-bye. Okay, now that you've got your fan spoofers installed, we're going to take the fans off. There's 8 screws for each side. So you're going to take all of these screws off. Now you're not going to reuse these screws. These screws are too long. Fruition Designs has included the screws that you'll use, and I'll show you in a minute once I get all these fans off. So it's just like pretty easy. Just take all these screws out and you'll take this little fan cover off. And you'll see, I'll take this one off to start with and then we'll move on. Once you get the fans unscrewed, it's kind of hard to pull this through, the plastic right through here. So what you have to do is get the end piece out of this little hole here and just slide the wires up. You kind of have to almost twist them so they come out one at a time, if you see what I mean. Otherwise you're going to slice them up. So just be careful to feed this through. And then you might need to manipulate it up and out. See how I kind of slid it back up and then just untwist it a little bit so it's not going to slice against that metal plate right there. And then boom, your fans are out on the one side. Now let's work on the other side. Same thing, 8 screws. Not going to record myself unscrewing those, you get it. Unscrew the fans, and then you're going to just work these wires out the same way. But I recommend separating these two. They're intertwined with each other on this side. And then that way you can kind of pull it through this gap right here. If you don't do that, like I said, on the other side you can slice the wires up. So just be careful, try to untangle these, unravel them. Get it to the point where you can kind of get the wires through. There, see what I'm doing? Bam. And then, like I said, just unscrew these. Take the fans off. Alright, let's get these fans off of here. I'm going to put them back in the Fruition Designs box. Don't forget, 15% off code greater good if you want 15% off a Fruition's Designs kit. So let's pack these fans away. Keep them, don't throw them away, because if you ever want to sell your ASIC, you're going to need to put the stock fans back on unless you make some sort of arrangement with the buyer to have the kit on there. Or if you ever want to have your rig hosted, they might not want you to have a aftermarket kit on it. So just keep that in mind. Don't throw the fans away. Keep the screws and keep the fans, because these screws are not going to be used for this kit. Don't forget, these are not to be used with the Fruition Designs kit. They include their own screws. So we'll move on to the next step. now that we boxed up the old fan. Okay, next we need to remove this metal grate here on the power supply fan, but don't remove the power supply fan itself. Try not to let it fall into the ASIC if you can. That's why we have the ASIC turned on its side like this. So you'll have the hash boards on the lower part and the power supply on the top. Kind of like just have it in this orientation like you see, and then we're going to unscrew this metal grate here. I'm going to try not to let the power supply fan fall into the ASIC, but that's why it helps having it on its side. Okay, perfect. So next we're going to take these 4 screws that are provided in the Fruition Designs kit. They're a little more coarse. You'll see the difference. We're going to install the plastic shroud itself now. And these more coarse screws in the kit will hold on tight to the plastic that the fan is made out of. The outside like case of the fan is plastic, so these will help hold on to that. So I'll show you in the next step. We're going to line up the screws and we're going to install the shroud kit. Okay, so I've got the kit all lined up. I put the mini screwdriver in this other hole just as a placeholder. It kind of helps line things up. They say that you should install this top left screw first. So we're going to go ahead and screw this in. Don't over tighten it because you're screwing a metal screw into a plastic piece inside. So you don't want to over tighten it. Just get it on there snug. Okay, that's pretty snug. So now we're going to just install the other 4 screws. There are 2 inside. I'll screw this one in first and then I'll get the camera off the mount and I'll show you the inside. So I'll do this one and I'll show you in a second the inside screws. Okay, so now you can see inside the shroud itself, there's these 2 screw holes in here that you're going to use those coarse screws for. So you can see them hopefully in this video. There and there. Okay, so now that you've got the power supply screws screwed in, you need to screw in the shorter screws that are provided in the kit to get the shroud secured, the whole shroud itself. So there's 4 inside and there's 4 on the outside. I'm going to do the inside ones and then I'll show you where the outside ones are, but it's pretty easy. You'll see it's just where the fans were, the stock fans. That's what you're going to use to mount the kit, but you're going to use these shorter screws that are provided with the kit. Do not use the longer ones. If you screw in the longer screws, it could hit one of these hash boards. I don't know if you can see, but inside of here is the hash board. You use a longer screw, you're going to screw it right in that hash board and crack it. You're going to short something out. So make sure you use the shorter screws that are provided with the kit. Okay, so we got the screws for the intake shroud inside and out. Alright, let's move on to the exhaust shroud. Okay, so we've got the screws inside installed, and we've got the screws on the outside installed. In the Fruition Designs KS1 and KS2 kits, you're going to get a magnet that says Fruition Designs on it. There is a section of the power supply exhaust area that is open. This plastic doesn't go up to the top here, and there's a lot of empty space inside of this power supply. The power supply only takes up a very small amount of this whole side area. So this area will be blocked off by this magnet here. I shot footage of it and I don't know why it didn't show up. So I just wanted to make sure you guys know that. So I did a little screen record. So it's pretty easy. Basically, once you've screwed this shroud kit down like I show you, all you have to do is literally just put this magnet right here. And I've already tested it. it's perfect. It blocks this off. It seals it off perfectly. So that is, don't throw this magnet away. Don't stick it on your fridge. You're going to need this for the install. There's two on the bottom as well. So now we just need to put the cover back on. Just watch out for all the wires. Make sure you're not pinching anything with this cover. And then it's just installing those 4 screws that you took out on the top, front, and back. And then next, we're gonna attach the fan itself. Okay, so the shroud is installed, and I have slid over the worm clamp. This is gonna tighten down the shroud itself to the AC Infinity fan. So you'll see an arrow on the top pointing in towards the ASIC. The side that has the plug and the switch and your Ethernet plug-in and your IP report button, that's the intake side. And you're going to slide that fan right up there. The clamp, you don't need it so tight. You don't need it super tight. It just needs to be snug to hold this fan in place. So I'm going to tighten that clamp down, and then we're going to pop the silencer on. If you saw my KS3L Fruition Designs kit install, I tested this all kinds of different ways, but now I know that if you want this thing to be really silent, you pop a silencer on the back, fan in the middle, ASIC in the front, and your decibels will drop. We'll do some testing on this one too. I've upgraded this KS1 into a KS2. I don't know if you saw my last video, but this is now a KS2. It's got 4 hash boards in it, and it's overclocked. So I already know that my KS3L is now a KS3M, and I've got the fan set to 6. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, yeah, there we go. It's set to 6. It's getting a little cooler in my garage, and I know that this KS2 overclocked is going to pull 1550 watts. That's with all the fans on. But now that I have the burden of cooling this taken off of the stock fans, I can probably drop the wattage on this. So we're going to do some testing after I get this all hooked up. I'm going to set the fan to 6 because they do provide instructions with the kit, and they recommend setting the fan to start off with at 3/4. Then don't forget, you're in control of the cooling of this device now. So it's not automatic with like the Iceriver controller. You're in control, so you got to watch your temperatures, but it's worth it. I've got my KS3L that I turned into a KS3M dialed in, and I am saving a ton of wattage, and it is much quieter. So I'm going to get the fan installed, just tighten that down. I'm going to plug it in. We're going to fire up the ASIC. I'm going to log into the web GUI, and we're going to do some testing to see how quiet and how efficient we can get this thing. Okay, so right now, with the burden taken off the fans and just the ASIC running overclocked itself, that's 1500 watts for a KS2 with the Fruition Designs kit. Now, one thing I've noticed is the power supply is still running inside of the ASIC. So I have the fan maxed out right now on the AC Infinity fan, which is totally unnecessary. I did this in my KS3L video when I was testing the Fruition Designs kit and the AC Infinity fans. So totally unnecessary to run it that high. My exhaust temps are like 36 right now. I'm just doing this for testing purposes. The AC Infinity fan is pulling 165 watts, and let's see how loud it is. And about 74 decibels. Completely unnecessary to run it this fast. That's with the silencer, the fan, maxed out, all the way cranked up. So I'm going to cut it down to 4. I've tested it at 4. It seems to be a happy medium. I'll show you what I get, and then I might tweak it a little bit more. Let's turn the fan down to 4 and give it a minute to settle in. And just to show you guys, we've been running about 22 minutes now, and we're getting 2467 gigahash, and the 30-minute average isn't there yet because we haven't been running for 30 minutes, but pretty consistently been getting about 2500 gigahash with the overclocked KS2. $13 pulling 1520 at the meter box. So this thing is so quiet, it's amazing. Only 13 watts for the fan. My exhaust temps are around 50 degrees Celsius, and I might just turn it up to 4 for safety's sake, because right now it's about 80 degrees in the garage. I don't know if you can see the screen here, but it's 80 degrees in the garage, and usually it runs hotter out here. So I've got all the other ASICs off to do the testing. So all my rigs, FPGA rigs, my GPU rigs are all off. So I'm going to turn this up to 4 because I know my exhaust temps are only 50, but I do think that it'll get hotter in here once I have all the ASICs on. It's nighttime also. I live in Florida, so it gets hot during the day still. It's fall. It gets about 80 degrees or so, maybe mid-80s during the day. So the garage can get up to like 90 degrees or so. So I'm going to turn this up to 4 for my purposes. But if you guys live in a cooler environment, it seems like you could get away with these settings. It's only 12.5 to 13 watts for the AC Infinity fan, and you guys can hear how much quieter it is. It is amazing. I love how quiet this thing is. Let me do one more test where I show you without the silencer, because maybe not everybody's going to get the silencer. I'll show you how loud it is. I'm just going to pop it off. Give me 1 second. Okay, so about 62 with the silencer off. I have a feeling though it's because the fans are set so low, but my exhaust temps are still only in the 50s. I'm going to turn it up to 4 because I know for sure I'm going to need a little more juice in Florida. It's too hot in Florida. So we went from about 12 watts on the AC Infinity fan to like 21 watts. So, well, you know, only like 9 or 10 more watts really to get it up to 4. So now we'll test it one more time because I have a feeling this is probably where I'll leave it. And actually, with the fan up to 4, I'll show you also, we're dropping the wattage overall for the ASIC. So I do have a feeling the power supply fans are kicking in when it gets a little warmer, because now the wattage on my overall ASIC power here seems to be dropping a little bit. It was like in the 1520s, now it's in the 15 teens, like 15. So yeah, you're losing, you're dropping wattage on the main ASIC, and you're putting a little more wattage on the AC Infinity fan, which is nice. I'd rather have the wattage going to this fan than putting stress on the power supply fan. Those are the things that whine the most too. So it might actually be quieter. So I would say for me, I'll probably leave this around 4 and just watch it for a day or so, but this seems to be pretty sweet. Let me refresh my screen. I'll tell you what the exhaust temps are. Okay, still getting 2462 gigahash per second. It's been running for about 40 minutes. Yeah, I mean, exhaust temps are like 48 at the highest, 46 average. 20 watts here, about 20 watts here. 15 watts, 1513 watts here. So, yeah, I mean, we're only pulling about 1530 total. About 1530 total for the whole system for a KS2 overclocked KS2, 1530 watts, and about 60 decibels, even quieter if you get a silencer. So, I mean, I love these kits. I'm a home miner, and my kitchen and my living room are right next to this garage. I mean, I walk through that door and I'm in my kitchen and in my living room. So it is very nice to have these kits. They're so quiet, so much more efficient, so much more manageable for a home miner. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, consider liking, subscribing, and don't forget you can use my discount code for Fruition Designs. Thank you again to Fruition Designs for sending me this kit. I really appreciate it. And also, don't forget you can get 10% off at the meter box if you want to build or buy a meter box like this, a 120 volt meter box, or 240 volt meter box. You can get a discount, 10% off, if you use my code GREATER. So I'll leave a link in the description. Anyway, hope this video was helpful to you. And if it was, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to keep it decentralized for the greater good.
The greater good.